Lie back now and let your thoughts drift like the softest clouds in the evening sky. Tonight, I will tell you a story, a tender tale of time and threads, of two hearts connected across a quiet distance, much like the gentle pull of the moon upon the tides. It is a story of a boy named Taki and a girl named Mitsuha, and a magical secret that only the stars could truly understand. Our story begins in two very different places, yet under the same vast sky. Imagine first a bustling city, Tokyo, where lights sparkle like scattered diamonds and tall buildings reach peacefully towards the heavens. Here lived a young man named Taki Tachibana. Taki was a kind and earnest fellow, perhaps a little preoccupied with his studies and his part-time job, but with a good heart. He would often find himself gazing at the sky, a quiet sense of longing stirring within him, though he knew not why. Then picture a serene countryside village, nestled amongst green hills and a sparkling lake, called Itomori. It was a place where ancient traditions lived on, and the rhythm of life was gentle and slow. Here lived Mitsuha Miyamizu, a bright and thoughtful girl. Mitsuha found her village life perhaps a little too quiet at times, longing for the excitement and wonders of the distant city. She lived with her younger sister, Yotsuha, and their wise grandmother, Hitoha, who was a guardian of the local shrine and its deep ancestral customs. One peaceful morning, something truly extraordinary began to happen. Taki woke up, but it wasn't his room he saw. He found himself in a girl's body, in a strange, traditional Japanese house in the countryside. His hands were smaller, his hair was longer, and the world around him was utterly unfamiliar. At the very same moment, Mitsuha woke up in a boy's body, in a bustling city apartment, surrounded by the towering buildings she had only dreamed of. This was the beginning of their shared secret. On random days, they would mysteriously swap bodies. They were living each other's lives, a gentle dance of spirits across the miles. At first, there was much confusion and a little bit of playful bewilderment. Taki, in Mitsuha's body, would find himself performing delicate shrine rituals with Yotsuha and their grandmother, learning about ancient rice wine called kuchi kamizake. Mitsuha, in Taki's body, would experience the wonders of Tokyo, attend school with Taki's friends, Tsukasa and Okudera-senpai, and even impress Taki's co-workers at his restaurant job with her thoughtful charm. They learned to leave each other notes, sometimes on their phones, sometimes on their skin, to understand what the other had done and to gently guide each other through the day. Mitsuha, with her caring touch, helped Taki become more popular, even arranging a quiet date for him with the lovely Okudera-senpai. Taki, with his practical mind, helped Mitsuha navigate the challenges of her village life. They started to feel a comfortable familiarity with each other, even though they had never truly met. A tender thread was weaving between them, growing stronger with each passing day. Then, as suddenly as it began, the swap stopped. One morning, Taki woke up in his own body, in his own room, and the connection was gone. He felt a quiet ache, a sense of loss for someone he didn't quite know, but whose presence had become so real to him. He tried to call Mitsuha's phone, but it never connected. A quiet worry began to grow in his heart. He felt an irresistible pull to find her, to understand why the magical visits had ceased. With a delicate sketch of Itomori, drawn from his gentle memories of Mitsuha's world, Taki set out. His friends, Tsukasa and Okudera-senpai, seeing the quiet determination in his eyes, decided to accompany him on this journey. They traveled by train and bus, following winding roads into the countryside, stopping at small, forgotten villages, asking if anyone recognized the serene landscape Taki had sketched. The journey stretched on, and hope began to dwindle like the last embers of a campfire. Until one day, they stumbled upon a small noodle shop. The owner recognized Taki's drawing. His eyes held a gentle sadness as he spoke of Itomori, but not as a living village. He spoke of a quiet disaster, a shining visitor from the sky, a comet that had gracefully passed 3 years ago. Yet a small, detached piece had fallen, gently scattering itself over Itomori, creating a new, quiet landscape where the village once stood. Taki's heart felt a profound jolt. The dates on the old town registers confirmed the gentle tragedy. October 4th, 3 years ago. Mitsuha and everyone in Itomori had perished on that day. He looked at his phone, at the messages he had left for Mitsuha, and realized they had disappeared. The gentle thread connecting them had stretched across time itself. He had been swapping with Mitsuha, not in his present, but in her past. A deep, quiet sorrow settled over Taki, but also a new, powerful resolve. He remembered Mitsuha's grandmother speaking of the hidden sacred shrine, a place where time itself felt thin. He remembered the kuchikamizake he had helped Mitsuha prepare, an offering left at the shrine. He knew, with a certainty that hummed in his very soul, that this was his only path. Leaving his friends, Taki journeyed alone into the sacred mountain, through misty forests, until he reached the ancient shrine. There, nestled amongst the roots of an old tree, he found the kuchikamizake. With a quiet prayer in his heart, he drank it, hoping to reconnect with the gentle spirit of Mitsuha. As the mystical drink worked its magic, Taki's mind drifted. He saw Mitsuha's life unfold before him, her childhood, her longing for the city, the gentle beauty of her village, and then the fateful day of the comet. He saw the shimmering light in the sky, the soft descent of the fragment, and Mitsuha's quiet shock as she witnessed the gentle scattering over her beloved home. He felt her emotions, her hopes, her quiet anxieties. He truly understood. Taki woke up again, but not in his own body. He was Mitsuha on the morning of the comet's arrival, 3 years in the past. He felt her long hair, heard Yotsuha's voice, and saw the familiar sights of Itomori, still vibrant and alive. This was his chance, their chance. He rushed to find Mitsuha's friends, Tessie and Sayaka, explaining the gentle danger that lay ahead. It was hard to convince them, but his earnestness, coupled with Mitsuha's usual mannerisms, slowly won them over. Their plan was simple: use the local power station's gentle alarm system to evacuate the town, pretending it was a fire drill. Meanwhile, Mitsuha, having drunk Taki's kuchikamizake in the future, a quiet echo of Taki's own journey, also experienced her own gentle awakening. She found herself in Taki's body on the sacred mountain at the exact moment Taki was experiencing her body in the past. They both felt an invisible pull towards the peak of the mountain, towards the sacred shrine. It was a special time of day, called Kataware Doki, twilight, when the boundaries between worlds, between day and night, between time itself, become soft and thin. And there, amidst the fading light, on the edge of the sacred mountain, their spirits briefly touched. Taki in Mitsuha's body, and Mitsuha in Taki's body, finally saw each other, truly, for the first time. "Your name is—" they both whispered, tears of quiet joy and profound recognition gently tracing paths down their cheeks. They spoke words of love and longing, of shared memories that stretched across time. But Katawara Doki is fleeting. As the light changed, so too did the magic. Their memories began to fade, like dreams upon waking. "Let's write our names," Taki urged, knowing the preciousness of this moment. He wrote, "I love you," on Mitsuha's hand instead of his name, a tender promise. But before Mitsuha could write hers, the world dissolved, and they were back in their own bodies, moments before their memories of each other became a beautiful hazy whisper. Mitsuha, back in her own body, felt a surge of determination. She rushed down the mountain, her heart full of a purpose she couldn't fully explain, but deeply felt. She confronted her father, the mayor, who was skeptical of her urgent plea to evacuate. But the fire drill, orchestrated by Tessie and Sayaka, was already in motion. Her fervent belief, her gentle persistence, and perhaps a flicker of something ancient within her father's own heart, eventually moved him. The town was evacuated. And then the comet descended, its fragment gently scattering over the empty village of Itomori. Lives were saved. Years passed, the world healed, and a new town was built. Taki and Mitsuha lived their separate lives, but both felt a persistent, gentle longing, a sense of having lost something infinitely precious, a piece of their very being. They would sometimes gaze at the stars or notice a beautiful red braided cord and feel a quiet ache, a question echoing in their hearts. "Who are you? Have we met before?" Life moved on, but the gentle thread, though stretched and invisible, was never truly broken. Then one quiet day, many years later, Taki saw a familiar face on a passing train. It was only a fleeting glimpse, but his heart, so long quietly searching, knew. He stepped off the train, a gentle urgency guiding his steps. He walked through the city, and then, on a set of stairs, he saw her again. Her name was Mitsuha, and she, too, felt the quiet recognition, the sense of a connection reaching back through time and space. Their eyes met, and the forgotten memories, the shared dreams, the tender journey, all gently resurfaced in their hearts, not as clear images, but as a profound feeling of belonging. "Have we met before?" Taki asked, his voice soft, almost a whisper. "I think so," Mitsuha replied, her own voice trembling with the weight of a shared history she couldn't quite recall, but deeply felt. And then, as if it were the most natural thing in the world, they asked each other the most important question, the one that had echoed in their hearts for so long, the one that finally brought their two worlds together. "Your name is—" And with those words, a deep peace settled within them, a quiet, joyful reunion that filled the air like a soft, comforting sigh. The thread, once stretched and invisible, was finally whole again, tying their hearts together forever under the same beautiful sky. Now, close your eyes and let this peaceful story drift into your dreams. May your rest be as gentle and as resolved as the ending of Taki and Mitsuha's journey. Good night.